Ciao calcio lovers from all over the world. Yeah, this time I say calcio lovers instead of Juventini because we are not alone this time on the channel. We have a lot of guests from all over the world, but also especially loving every single team of Serie A. With people from supporting Roma, Milan, Inter, Napoli. I'm super happy. We have some even new people that never joined the channel, and that's why I want to say first hello and thank you to be here to Raffaele. You are still muted. I warned you already. Ciao Raffaele, how are you doing?
Ciao, ciao. I'm sorry. I'm doing good. Very honored to be here. I appreciate you letting me in. I've seen the show a few times, even though I'm a Napoli fan and I'm not a Juventino. But I'm very, very happy to be here with a very fine panel of guests as well.
Thank you, Rafa. I will call you Rafa because it's how you call you. Guys, I don't even repeat to the people in the chat. Super easy. Wayne in Rome, the hashtag Martino Puccio. Then you have Uncle Sharma and Rafa Napoli 83 if you want to follow them on Twitter. Most of them are also present on YouTube. You have the link into the description if you want to support other teams. No, not the team, but at least if you want to support other content creators with their amazing takes, do it because it's really recommended. I do it a lot of time. I jump in, I say hello. So do it because it's really important to do. Before the other ones that we already know, let me say hello to some people in the chat like Stavros, Ahmed, Dan Barile, Pecci Pecci. We also have Nicolas from Serbia, but also the Inter fan that is there today who is saying, I love friendly banters between the team. Ciao Aman, Amatsako, Marian, Wasi. We have a lot of people today. So guys, today we will speak about Serie A, the first 7 match days that unfortunately for Juve were really bad. Luckily for Napoli were really good. And then in between you have Milan and the other teams. Ciao Wayne, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey G, I'm doing great. Roma's hanging in there. I'm a little disappointed with the injury crisis as of the last month, but I really think Roma would be sitting at the top of the table if it wasn't for that. But other than that, I'm doing good. But it was nice to be here. Ciao Juventini, and as well as anyone else who's coming over to check this out.
Ciao Martino, Milan.
Yeah. Not bad. I know Rafa's a little bit happier about it, but this happened last year, so I can't be too upset. Drop points to Sassuolo and Napoli, so it doesn't mean anything right now. Just got to stay healthy. The international break was worse than the loss to Napoli, arguably. It was. It's not great to us.
Kvara scored today, yeah? With Georgia.
Did he? I don't even know. I know Raspadori scored because I was watching the game just before we came on. But if Kvara scored again, that's 19 matches, 9 goals. 10 goals, actually.
Incredible. Ciao Uncle Sharma, my buddy today. Why? Because we are not that far away in the ranking of Serie A. So ciao Raul.
Ciao. Thank you for having me on as usual. I feel like I'm a regular on this channel now.
But last time we had another Inter fan from Australia, Inter Worldwide, and he was doing really great. Actually, much better than you. He was not available, so that's why I asked you.
We're starting already. All right. Okay.
Okay, I have a few questions. Of course, not immediately, but we will go to the best team so far, the most surprising team, also for the players, best player, most surprising, the flop team that is, I believe that we will all be anonymous, that it's Juventus. Who is the flop player? And then maybe if we have time, or at least the one that are still there later on the live, maybe try to do a best 11 of Serie A so far. But first of all, who? Of course, we will interact with the chat, but we see a ranking. Maybe I can show the ranking. A ranking after 7 days where we see Napoli.
We need a Udinese fan.
Hey, you know that I didn't think about it immediately, but now watching at the ranking, you see Napoli first, Atalanta second, Udinese third. Big start of the season for Udinese. Lazio is top 4. Really strange. Top 4, not really speaking about Napoli and maybe not even Atalanta, but Udinese, Lazio being there after 7 match days, and especially not having Milan, Inter, Roma, and so on, is a strange ranking of Serie A. Let's start recapping the first 7 match days. Was it surprising or not? Did we expect our teams to do like that? Maybe we can start with Rafa, with Napoli. Assessment.
I mean, one of the best starts you can ask for, right? I mean, we had Roma beefing up with Dybala and, the transfers that came in. Everybody was very excited for their start. A lot of people didn't have Napoli even in the top, 4, top 6. And, all the players that left, Mertens, Koulibaly, Insigne, you had Fabian right at the end there, Ospina, the question with Meret, the question for the new players, who is Kim Min-jae? How do you even pronounce Kvaratskhelia? It was really, Raspadori didn't come until the end, neither did Simeone and Ndombele. So those a lot of questions to be asked at the beginning of the season. And rightfully so. I mean, I always keep a very optimistic view all the time. Maybe it's a fault of mine, but, I know that the history of Napoli is to replace well. So I wasn't very concerned. I knew Kvaratskhelia. I watched him with Georgia when the rumblings of our signing him started kind of coming around. I watched a few Georgia matches. And I was convinced that he would light the league up right away. And I've said that on many occasions in many different platforms. And I was right. August player of the month, and scoring goals like you mentioned today. Kvaratskhelia scored. It was a penalty, but still, 19 matches with Georgia, 10 goals. First 3 matches with Napoli, 4 goals and an assist. So, I'm not surprised that we're competing, but I am surprised that we're in first place. Very surprised. Very pleasantly surprised.
No, Napoli. I didn't put Napoli in top 4. Of course, season is long and everything can happen. But especially because I did my prediction before the start of the season, and it was before the end of the Mercato, and right after that, it was like a really boom with Mercato Napoli. And of course, losing Koulibaly, Insigne, Mertens, not really on the pitch. Yeah, Koulibaly, of course, but the other 2 ones that were important more for the locker room than on the pitch. We saw Insigne difficult last season, for example, also with the environment and so on. You don't know how you replace them. And then with all these new signings, clicking immediately, with Spalletti continuing to do what is really strong at, starting the season with a turbo. Congratulations for Napoli. I believe that, of course, it's a pleasant, beautiful surprise. There is immediately a question for Wayne before giving again Rafa the words. People are asking, Wayne, can we have Dybala back, please?
Absolutely not. I waited a very long time to have him and a player like that at Roma. I've watched him from Palermo, so you cannot take Dybala away from me. I will hold on to him. You'll have to drag him, and I'll be holding on the back.
Rafa, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I like that. Interrupt me all you want, especially when it comes to Juventini leaving. So one of the most important signings for Napoli that goes a little bit under the radar is the fact that we signed Anguissa. One of the first things we did was make sure that was a permanent deal instead of, and at 15 million euro, okay, that is, a steal. We were talking about it, and I had on the Napoli rant with Raf and Raf, I had a guest on the Far From Vesuvius network as well. And he was and I can't remember his name, and that's terrible of me. But he was a Fulham fan, so he was from a Fulham account, and he was, excited for Anguissa to make the move to Napoli. Sad to see him go, when a lot of other fans were like, oh, his quality is down, this and that, and he said that at 15 million, that's a steal. Like you've robbed us blind at 15 million. And this was before he even touched the ball in Serie A. So he was brought in before the transfer market was over last season, which his first game was against Juventus at the Maradona, and he was our beast of the match at the Napoli rant. Match 1. And had a good start to last season, had a little bit of a dip in form. So re-signing him this year, we were excited but still a little cautious. But I mean, from match one, Anguissa has been absolutely incredible. Him and Lobotka, linking up with, Zielinski in that midfield. I mean, that's the key to this season.
Now you are mentioning some names that are doing incredibly well. I saw Martino, I saw Raul also knocking and saying yes, 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 especially when you said Lobotka and Gisa, they are doing extremely well. But the team is clicking super well. Also, Napoli is the one that did incredibly well in that game versus Liverpool. I believe that all supporters of Calcio, you like Italian teams in Europe or not, you just had to say congratulations to Napoli that did amazingly well. There was a question, maybe Martino, you can answer that one of Ndombele, how he is, because it's a question from Jimmy that he's saying I'm a Spurs fan, but my team in Serie A is Milan. He was asking
complete opposites,
for both of you. Ndombele, what's the impact of him in the beginning of the season?
It's up to him. It's up to this guy all the time. This has been a thing since he transferred over to Spurs. If you ever watched the Amazon All or Nothing, one of the players besides Dele Alli was Ndombele that they had question marks about whether, adapting to a new country, fitting into a system and all that. And, sometimes moves like that don't work out. And a lot of the time it is Spurs, unfortunately, Jimmy. But, Napoli is a much different environment. Spalletti's interesting when it comes to players because he either gets along with you very well or you're probably out as soon as possible. And I think that it's really just up to him. And there's a lot less pressure on him. He was a record-breaking signing with Spurs. He's not going to be there with Napoli. At best, he's like fifth choice. Well, he's going to be replacing whatever Diego Gemme was supposed to be. Like Zielinski and Gisa and Lobotka right now are all ahead of him. And, it's a lot less pressure for him. So I'm sure Spalletti will pick his spots and put him in certain situations. I don't see him redeeming them because those wages are absurd and whatever fee Spurs are going to want at the end of the day, it's just maybe it's just potential resale value to another club if he performs well at Napoli and say, okay, we'll take the risk. But yeah.
If Spalletti turns his career around, that would be his biggest masterclass.
His whole career, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's turned Lobotka around. He did have Brozovic at Inter, but if he does Ndombele, wow, just tip my hat.
Yeah, Raul,
and then Ndombele, I'm sorry, he got off to a really slow start with Napoli. Not very good first couple of appearances. He had a start against Lecce, which did not go well. But over the past few matches, I believe it was starting in the match against Spezia, the 1-0 when he came in. You could tell that it was gradually coming. And then the Rangers match was just amazing. I mean, I mentioned Beast of the Match. He won Beast of the Match. He came in, played 7 minutes, set up the second goal, and scored the third. And had created another chance. So his progress can happen. He does need a few more minutes, I believe, but that's the beauty part of what Napoli have this season is depth. It's depth like we've never had before. And I said that a few times in the past few seasons that our depth is, it's better than it ever has been. And you can see this graduate, acceleration in depth that they have. And one of the big keys is Raspadori and Gigi Simeone coming off the bench. I mean, who would have ever thought Simeone would land at a place where he's, second striker and he's coming off the bench and still scoring goals? It's crazy. So that's one of our big strong suits is that if we get, Osimhen gets injured, we have Simeone to come in. We have Raspadori to start 90 minutes, get the game winner against Spezia. And then it just is a wonderful. It makes me a little more optimistic than before. I mean, we've started 8 matches in a row, winning all of them. We've gone 12 out of 14, wins, 10, 12 wins, 2 draws. We've done this before and we've fallen short. It's because we get injured in the middle of the season. We have this month stretch of these guys out all at the same time. Something that Inter didn't have to deal with 2 seasons ago, and Milan maybe did a little bit last season, but they overcame. And now we have a Napoli who's got 2 wins in the Champions League and in first place right at this moment. I noticed a trend over the past couple of seasons where Inter, last place in the Champions League group stage, go on to win the Scudetto. Milan, last place in the group stage, go on to win the Scudetto. Napoli will not finish last place in this group stage. I can tell you that right now. How far can they go with having to juggle all three competitions? We have the depth for it. So, it's amazing, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
A last point about Napoli, I wanted to ask Raul, who is an expert of Spalletti, Luciano. Luciano, he already showed in his career, but also Wayne, because of course he was at Roma, Inter. Maybe a question for both of you, quite quickly. He always showed that he has amazing starts, like Rafa said. Also last year, I believe it was a 10-on-10 win in the beginning of the season. Will he be able to keep it? There is no African Cup, and that's already great, because we know the troubles that last year Napoli had with a lot of people leaving in mid of the year. This year it will be Qatar, but everything will be stopped. Maybe it's the chance to have a new Serie A. It's actually a Serie A second part, 2.0, after Qatar, and he can see it as a new start maybe. Or will it be difficult and he will bottle it? But also the people in the chat, let us know, because Ahmad Sacco is saying Spalletti never continues what he's able to start. Question for Raul and for Wayne, whoever wants.
I think Spalletti is only as good as his squad in certain scenarios. So if I look back at his Roma years, he got them to what that team could achieve with the players that he had. But once the season got long, it's where the depth sets in. It's what Rafa's talking about right now. Spalletti has not managed teams like, let's say, like the Juventus of Lichtsteiner in those years, where they had such depth and quality even through their ranks and into their Primavera. When he was at Zenit, he did win because he had great players. So if you supply the guy, he will show up. He's a great manager.
Yeah, no, I think similar with Inter. I think that team was fourth place, and he got us to fourth place both seasons. So I think there'll be another drop off at some point. But I think there's less pressure on Napoli, but then the fan base, Napoli in general, as a city, the pressure within starts to build. So I don't know if they'll be able to take that. So I think there will be a drop-off again for Napoli.
Real quickly before we change subjects, and I want to talk about everybody, but another thing that's different about this Napoli is the mentality. Now, and I hate to say this this has caused a lot of controversy in my platforms, but the fact that we got rid of Koulibaly, Mertens, Insigne, Fabian, the mentality seems to have shifted into a different direction. Kvaratskhelia, Kim, Simeone, Raspadori, they don't have the same mentality of these players that left. They have a different sort of mentality. So when they're playing to their highest strengths, and when you have Lobotka who's rejuvenated under Spalletti, and when you have Zielinski who's back from last season, Zielinski was affected by COVID, no doubt. This season he's on tip-top shape, and I just feel like something about the mentality of this team where they don't, that Milan win, that was all Simeone and Maradona, it just feels like the mentality has shifted. That's another big thing about Napoli and bottling all these seasons that they have. It's either the injuries or it's the mentality. You had Sarri in 2018 talking about how the team lost the Scudetto in the hotel room in Firenze, and it's like, who says that? Go out and win the match, and they lost 3-0 to a Simeone hat trick, actually. And they wouldn't have been in first place because Juventus beat Inter in the way they did, or whatever. We won't go there, but they still would have been a point behind with 4 games left. So, just the mentalita is not there. It was not there before, and I feel like now it's just a different set of guys, it's a different feeling, I feel. So we're ahead of ourselves. It's week 7. We have a lot of season to play, but I just feel like there's a different, air about Napoli right now.
I loved how you put in that Juve Inter game.
We won't go there.
No. We will not mention the really. Who was the coach back then? Who was the coach of Inter back then? I forgot.
Oh, I believe it was Spalletti, wasn't it?
Oh, strange.
Maybe. Can't remember.
No, but that beautiful change of who was it? Icardi out. I don't remember who was out.
Santon, Davide Santon.
And it was
Yeah.
beautiful. Beautiful
Yeah.
changes. I remember. Let's not speak about that. We have to speak about Milan because Milan is lost that game. I believe that it was a deserved win from Napoli, but I still believe that Milan was stronger. If not on that game specifically, but maybe in the first game, I see a Milan that is stronger. I'm happy that Leao, speaking as a neutral fan, I'm happy that Leao fixed his problem of his beginning of the season because I saw him after winning that Serie A man of the season. I saw him a bit, how can I say, nonchalant. Does that exist?
Nonchalant.
That word?
Yeah, that
Nonchalant.
works. Yeah.
And in the 2-3 first games, I was like, that's not a really beautiful sign. He totally changed, and you see a Milan playing really well. Charles de Ketelaere still needs to enter the game. Martino, do you want to guide us through the beginning of
Sure.
Milan?
Yeah. So
I
like,
go
thought
by ranking, so prepare yourself, Wayne. You're the next one.
I'll be last then.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was telling people I was more frustrated with the Sassuolo game than the Napoli game. The Napoli game you at least play well. Like Napoli deserved that. You give away a penalty that's bad on your part. But when you put in that performance against Sassuolo, when they're missing certain players like Traore is not there, they just lost Raspadori and all these other players like Scamacca, you have to get something out of that. You can't get a 0-0 draw. And that's always the thing that's frustrating because, like if Napoli plays great, which they did, and then they produce, then, you got to tip your cap to them. But there's certain losses like that. And then Leao, I mean, he's just contributing in almost every single match after that, whether it's a goal or an assist. And Charlie, I think people are too harsh on him. He joined very late within the transfer window.
Sure.
That's not something that's easily to assimilate into. And anyone that has followed Milan under Pioli knows that these guys don't start immediately. Almost nobody does. And it takes a lot of time for you to assimilate within that new league and everything. And he's still very young. He's 21. So I don't know why people always assume that you have to be on the ground running like Maradona. I mean, that's a different situation over there where he's played so great. But I think it's going to take them some time. And still, out of all the teams competing for the Scudetto, Milan are still the youngest. Regardless if they won it last year, there's going to be those ups and downs. Just a little worried again about, fullback depth. And again, when
At least
the
you have
season-
some fullbacks.
That's true. You guys don't have any. That's fair enough.
You have two. You have two. That's good. We have zero.
If you like Calabria, if you rate him like that, I don't rate him that highly.
Did he play that? I watched a few games where he was not that bad. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but if you say not that bad for a
from
Milan right back, that's a problem for me. You don't want that. But again, I think the real testament of what Milan I think could be is going to be January. What does new ownership do? Do they put up big money? Because if that's something that's going to happen, then that's big. Because really, they didn't spend that much this summer. This summer was about wage cut money and money coming in from the Champions League again. So if they are able to spend come then, and there's more positivity with renewals, I think they're primed to repeat or be right there till the end.
There was a comment just before about injuries because Allegri said 10 days ago, let's see if Inter and Milan, they are losing 5 starters, if they can do it. Looks like he hired the Marabout of Pogba, the witch doctor, because now you have how many? Wait, I checked. It was, let me check. Maignan, Tonali, Theo, Kier. Did I forget someone? No.
Did you say Mike? Maignan?
Maignan?
Maignan.
I pronounce it well because I'm French. Maignan, Tonali, Theo Hernandez, Kier, 4. It's a lot, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot. And then
We had that last year.
Giroud's
We
like
had that
36.
last year.
He's playing 7 games in a row, and then he's still playing for France because they can't find it. They can't find another striker. These guys. They have it. They have everything else. They have like 10 players deep in every position except striker. Somehow, they still have to use Giroud.
What about Origi? When will we see him? Because
he's hurt too. He had an abductor issue that pretty much kept him from signing until like the end of June, and then he misses most of preseason. Then he gets in, then he has leg fatigue, and then he has this. He has to go to Belgium to go see your doctors. Maybe it's you, Bebe, that's checking up on him right now. But listen, you hope that he would, or Rebic as well, missing time. All these guys, whether it's from positions at left wing or they could be the third or fourth choice striker. Zlatan's out till the new year. Lazetic, the young kid that they got from Red Star, and Stankovic, like he's not even prepared to play just yet. He's in the youth league. So, I mean, again, this is what you have to deal with, but there's no excuses, right? Like Napoli didn't have Victor Osimhen in that match. Or, like, what are we going to say? You can't pull that card. And
I'll tell you right now, if Napoli had Petagna to cover, Napoli would not have won that match. Right?
That's actually your best swap out of everything that no one talks about.
That is the biggest upgrade
Petagna
of
for
the
Simeone.
season.
It is.
Right.
It is. Shout out Dan Russo, by the way.
I was not confident about Simeone, I have to tell the truth, because of course he played with smaller teams. And it was one that was scoring like 4 goals in one game, and then he disappeared for like 10 games. And then he came again with a hat-trick.
Who did he score those against?
If
Last
I have a good memory, it's here. But
No.
Swan and
No. I think he scored 2 against Juventus, and then he had a third, but it was disallowed. But I think he had like something like 5 goals in 2 matches. I think he had a hat trick right before that match.
yeah,
So
but why do you
I'll look
avoid
it
the
up,
4 goals versus Napoli? This was the topic, not the versus Juve.
Say that again. Oh, did he score against Napoli last season? But here's the thing, right? I didn't have any doubts about Simeone because I had the same concerns though, G, as you did, in that he scores a lot of goals in a game and then he goes missing for a little bit. What comforted me a little bit is that he played for Verona and scored against big clubs. Like he had his goals came 17 goals for Verona, scoring against the biggest clubs in Serie A. Is for me it's good. And now you can score in Europe too. Give him a shot. He'll score in Europe.
What convinced me is the passion. The passion that he is in a big club and that he really wanted to be at that level. And you saw it with that beautiful story, kissing the UEFA Champions League logo tattoo. That story is beautiful. You see the passion. And also Argentinian being in Napoli is always important. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that he'd have the same sort of passion if he was in a Champions League with anyone, because that was his dream, was to play in the Champions League and score. Well, not only did his dream come true, it came true in 3 minutes, and it happened at the Maradona, under the stadium named after Maradona, Argentinian.
Can you still keep the name Maradona, or it's also over?
No, the name is fine. It was the images that
only the picture.
Well, the issue was with the images, which I agree with the family. They this Maradona's former agent was out for himself and some money, and even though I bought all of the kits last season,
I have a serious question. It's not even a banter or a joke, because I heard again the strategy was to continue with that. A lot of T-shirts, something really special.
It was.
Will they do it again, or it's over now and they will?
I guess because of what was just ruled, because this was a ruling in the courts, they can't do that. And I was very against that. I was for the kits, last season. You had the tribute to Maradona when he passed away. It was touching tribute. They had the Argentina style kit that came out, but that was already coming out. That had nothing to do with the passing of Maradona. It was already a thing. It just so happened that that was the timeline. Then the tribute to him last season, 1 year after his death, the statues, which were beautiful. I mean, way better than a Ronaldo statue, please. And then the kits, that was a commemorative thing. When I heard that they were going to do it again this season, and then even like towards the end of the last season, they came out with tracksuits, Dios tracksuits, which, okay, I was like, all right, fine. Now this season, like, you gotta put it to bed. It's gotta be, let him sleep in peace. Let's leave it to rest. Let's move on. You want to make special edition kits, Halloween kit, Easter kit, Natale kit, do whatever you want to do. But let's leave Maradona where it is. You know what I mean? And we've got the name now. We've got his presence with the statue. We've got the kits that could be commemorized. And and in history. And let's just move on. Let's go to this direction where we're gonna try to win one without Maradona now.
Hey, that's a
Opinion.
beautiful way of thinking. From passion and Argentinian players, I believe we have to go here to Wayne because you welcomed and something really incredible. Today I was watching the debate who's most famous between Beyonce, Ronaldo, and then Messi. And then I saw actually someone, I don't even know if it was a Roma supporter or not, they put, the small clip of Dybala presented in front of so many people, and it was written, Beyonce could never. What a beautiful, big presentation of Dybala.
He's
How
right.
do you assess Roma and Dybala? We are in a Juve show, so we have to speak about him, but also especially about Roma that after winning the Conference League last year, I said it, I see them finishing top 4, ups and downs, a lot of 1-0 a la Mourinho, but they are there. They are there, and they are actually convincing with a lot of things. Am I wrong, Wayne?
You're absolutely right. If I look back at this past summer, it was really about decreasing the wage bill, getting rid of players who were just taking up space, wanted to be on vacation, maybe were inappropriately brought into the club that didn't deserve to be there, as well as lowering the amortization bill. I believe it was from 82 million euros down to 64 at this point in time, getting money in, buying players who were free, on freeze, and Dybala fit that profile. Wijnaldum fit that profile. So you had really just, 8.5 million euros spent only on Selik, the only player who cost Roma any dollar in transfer fee this summer was Selik coming over from France. So it was a top job, and now you see the players coming in to fit Mourinho, but also a higher quality. It's not just that they fit these various roles, but that they actually are better players. So they raise the quality of the on-pitch product, on field. And right now, the biggest thing that's holding them back has been this insane injury chaos. If I look at Zaniolo, El Shaarawy, Kumbula, Wijnaldum, and now Karsdorp. Like, give me a break, man. So I think that they're making all the right moves from top to bottom, from the president and the ownership down to the boss who's trying to change the ethos, the mentality, the drive in this club. And now you see a team who is trying to innovate because of this injury crisis. But of course, I'm a little bit glad that the World Cup is coming so soon.
Can I just, because the second time I hear it, injury crisis. I heard it from Martino. I heard it from you. We have the same. World Cup influencing the fact that we had to start earlier, or is it something else?
I think it goes further back. I think this is all from the COVID season initially, when we tried condensing everything in then. And then we said, okay, well, the World Cup was going to happen in the winter anyways. And so it's all lining up for that. And it's really, we're not going to get a normal season again until next year.
Right.
Because
When has there been a normal season since COVID, right? I mean, there's always something early or late, You're right, 100%.
I think Allegri was back at Juve the initial time. was the last time it was like actually normal, because it was the only year with Sarri, which you guys won it because Wayne very happily saw Lazio blow it because they had a good chance to win it that year.
It's true.
When Immobile was on the record pace. I think it's that, and it just catches up to everybody, like young teams, old teams, it just like teams with depth, teams not with depth. Like even Real Madrid has injury issues too. Like it's all over the place. And hey, I mean, they want their money, they want their matches, so this is what they get.
For me, the bottom line is that it's too much football. Conference League, Nations League, endless friendlies, summer. They got to go travel now to halfway around the world. Please.
You saw.
And didn't we want a tournament in December? By the way, the rumor for Serie A
Yes,
was
that's a big rumor too. That's one that's resurfaced.
Good.
By the way,
Which is
De Laurentiis has already said that he's coming if they're gonna approve it. So
Got the Serie A All Stars.
It won't do it. It's not enough time. I think that's dead. But even so, to what Martino is trying to say is that they're trying constantly to put more on the calendar, and it's not fair to these players. These are not horses; they're humans, and they need proper rest. It's enough, or else we're just going to keep on seeing ACL tears, meniscus. This is not good.
But
I'm really against
also
too
from
much
a supporter
football.
point of view,
they play on.
Also from a supporter point of view, it never stops. There are games every single day at different timings, so you can see easily 2 games a day, easily without interruption. At a certain moment, you are not even anymore watching with a big high concentration. If it's not your favorite team, of course. If it's your favorite team, you're there, you're watching. But the other teams you're watching your phone, you're going to the game. It's a pity. I remember, I believe I'm the oldest one here. I remember in my days, there were like 1 or 2 games a week, and you were watching, you were enjoying the 90 minutes. You didn't want to lose any single second of it. It's a lot for the players, but I believe also for the supporters, especially in a time where, we are in a Netflix, Amazon Prime era where you can change whatever you want. If it's boring, you change. Then you look at the highlights. Look, I have to admit, I don't know who watched it. I watched the Sidemen versus YouTube All Stars. I had a lot of fun. I had really a lot of fun. It was super entertaining. It was something totally different. This was something that I was missing in all the last games I saw. Of course, I hope we will never have this as the benchmark for professional football. But it was funny. And it was something different. So a lot. Too much, probably.
Gee, you said you were the oldest one here. How old are you? Because I'm up there too.
Wait.
It's 62.
I will be 41 next week. No,
okay.
in 2 weeks.
I'll be 40 in March. So
okay.
I'm up there with you. So I remember that too. Trust me. I remember the one match a week. I remember it was always on a Sunday. There was no Saturday. There was no Friday. There was no Monday. It was Sunday at in New York it was Sunday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, all right.
Wayne,
Yeah.
It was Sunday at 11, and it was before Rai International. It was in New York. It was just a local channel that was showing it, and they started it from like midway into the second half. They put the game on, and no halftime, half-hour variety show, and then 90 minuto came on, and that's it. That's how you watched. If Napoli wasn't playing, I waited for 90 minuto. It was if Napoli wasn't in Serie A, I didn't watch anything. There was nothing to watch. So it was very special back then. It was. It's a lot of football now. I could argue that the Nations League just replaced the friendlies. Like the calendar is the same, but at the same time, the Nations League made more of a competitive nature. Like the teams. Listen, fans might say, "Oh, the Nations League doesn't matter. The Nations League doesn't count." You put four teams in a semifinal in June. You don't tell me Italia is not going to want to win that thing after missing the World Cup. You know what I mean? They're going to want to win that, and it depends. Like it dictates the ratings as well. So the rankings, excuse me, the rankings. It dictates the rankings. So, it's too much, but at the same time, I feel like the Conference League too. I mean, the Conference League. Italy still only has 7 teams that qualify for Europe. It's not like anything has a lot has changed in that regard. It's just more competition means more players having to play hard for longer in the season.
I know that you are leaving in 5 minutes, Rafa. I just wanted to share with you that people are voting because there is an online poll. I said which is so far the best team in Serie A from the guests, so not the other ones. So I said Napoli, Milan, Roma, and Inter. 71% of the people said so far Napoli, 19% for Milan, 8% for Roma, 3% I believe it's Uncle Sharma voting for his team, for Inter.
I actually did.
I know you did.
I voted for Roma.
I know you did.
I voted Napoli. Damn,
I didn't even vote. So thank you guys. Napoli is. Listen, this is not right now. It's familiar. We start off really well. We trickle away. Like you guys said, let's see what Spalletti can do.
Rafa, enough. I want, because I know that you are leaving in 4 minutes. I want 4 minutes of you guys, but especially your take about Juventus doing really bad. It's your moment to go for it. You deserve to speak bad about
you. You know how much I love the Juve Storia di Grande Amore song. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs to play when Juventus lose or draw a match. Right here in this very shop, in this very chair, I'll have some clients sitting here. We'll be watching the game, and then I'll go ahead and put the song on in the shop, blast it out loud, sing it all day. It's a catchy tune. I really do love that song.
It is. I've told Beppe before.
It is a catchy song, man. Like, that's the one thing I hate about it, is how catchy it is. And
It's not a joke. You are serious about that.
I'll do the banter, and I'll post it and change the word amore to merda, or to, oh, by the way, that little thing over Valentino's there, that says Juve merda, just so I wanted you guys to know that. So I'll change the word amore to another, oches or merda or whatever. But then after I send it, and I'm gonna admit this on your show, after I send it, I'm at home and I'm like, oh, wait, no, stop.
I will clip that one. I will put it everywhere on the internet. You know that.
I hope you do. Listen, I was on Serie A sit down many times, and I got caught saying I really like Milan, and so Richard Carmen would go ahead. Breaking news: Rafa is a Milan fan now. So I'm guilty. Listen, I have respect for Juventus for what they've done on the pitch. Their off the pitch antics, very questionable. But I can never cheer for them in Europe. I'm sorry. I have a lot of Juve fans as well. Friends, very close friends that I get along with, There are some on Twitter that are disgusting. Let's just put it that way. And normally it's Juventini because I'm a Napolitan. Fine. But I bunch of other friends I won't even name. But, it's possible to have a chat, and respect each other. You know what I mean? It really is. And when it comes, Juve are my most hated team in any sport, but that doesn't mean I have to hate this guy or that guy. I got a really good friend who's a Neapolitan family Juve fan down in
he left.
It's possible.
It's not me, yeah. I believe the channel they heard some words here. They said, you know what, we will put him down. Enough. No, tell me, Rafa, what is happening with you? I want to know now, from your point of view. Is the coach? Is it the team?
Allegri. I was not a fan of Allegri. I wanted Allegri when he was going back, and we ended up getting Spalletti. I wanted Allegri because I thought Allegri can come in, and it's a new environment. It's a new set of players. They can teach him this and that. They can teach the players, here and there. And then he went back to Juve, and I was like, it's good for us because but I'm saying to myself, if Allegri goes back to Juve, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. The team has changed too much since he left, and the team really centered itself around Ronaldo. That team was built to play around Ronaldo, and then Ronaldo left. And they didn't do much to help themselves. They brought in Vlahović last season. He did really well. Now what's going on? You know what I mean? I don't like that, the team's not getting him the ball. The service isn't coming in. You saw what Simeone did. He created his own goal against Milan. Vlahović, for me, needs to get a little better at that. And then obviously there are the injuries. But why are you bringing in Di Maria? He's a class player, but he's 30 what? Why are you bringing back Pogba? Why? What's the point? These guys should be focused on building Miretti, Gatti, younger players that they have. They should really be focusing on that and trying to get the ball to Vlahović. And Vlahović needs to come back a little bit more too. It's just it's a lot that's going on with them, and I don't see it getting any better this season. Maybe next season, but yeah, I just. It's strange to me because this is Juventus. They were always able to get better with every year. And then once Ronaldo got in there, I think it just really messed up the whole flow of the team. It really,
and now you feel a bit sad. Wouldn't you say you feel a bit sad, right, in your heart that Juve is not doing so well?
The only reason why I'm sad in my heart is because I'd want to win a Scudetto with them chasing us. And they're not. They're not chasing us.
You have Stockholm syndrome.
Last question.
Mentally kidnapped.
Last question, and then I leave you. It's a really easy one. Juventus ends top 4 or out of top 4? It's a long question.
Outside of top 4. Outside of top 4. You know what? Never say never, and never count Juventus out, because I also thought they wouldn't finish top 4 last season, but they did. The problem is the people that came in and the injuries that they have. They need to get healthy quick. Chiesa needs to come back really quick. Notice a pattern, though. Chiesa out for Juventus not as good. Chiesa out for Italy, we don't make the World Cup. Chiesa is a big factor in all of this. And I believe that. So once they get healthy, if they can come back from the World Cup healthy, then maybe we'll see. But I don't know. I think it's Allegri. You know, and I don't know who's out there now. A lot of people are saying Tuchel, but who knows? But Allegri with that contract, it's a bad situation. I don't know what these guys are doing at Juventus. I don't know what Agnelli was thinking. It's pretty mind-boggling. So.
Thank you for being with us, Rafa.
Thank you, guys. I thank you for letting me talk for as long as I have. Have a great rest of the show. I'll catch the rest of it later.
Ciao, Rafa. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Take care.
Wayne, you were speaking about Roma. You didn't even spoke about Dybala, but I also want to remind it, because we already explained Roma. You didn't talk about Dybala, and then also your assessment about maybe Juve. If there is something more to add, because I believe I received already a lot of trash and correct trash by Rafa.
Just 20 seconds on Juventus. I don't think that they can go the way of just investing in Miretti and Raspadori and up-and-coming youth and decent, players who are very prospective. I think that they have to make some marquee signings in order to appease the pressure that's on them internationally, their fan base, their board of directors. They're not allowed to just go with this philosophy of like, okay, let's be the best Italian team, take our time and invest in the youth, and it's going to take 3 to 5 years. If you want to do that, you have to be completely honest, the way that, hey, I'm bringing in a different sport, but the New York Rangers did something like this. Now they're doing very well. But I do not believe that Juventus would ever take that type of policy.
They're blue. It's blue and white.
Oh, Sharma's bed sheets.
Can we check a bit closer? I really want to check.
They're blue, man. It's navy.
It's not blue. It's black and white. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. It's a Juventino.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyway, speaking of Inter Milan, Dybala has been really just an incredible player.
Wow.
No.
It's good.
By the way, Wayne, I totally agree with you. You can't just go with all the youngsters. That's hard.
Only if you're Milan, though.
No, Milan got. I think that's so lucky. Leao is just, and Teo Hernandez are just players who can change games on their will, and I think that's a diamond. Looking through the cave, you find that diamond, and they're very lucky to have those players.
I don't know. I don't know. I have my own theory on Milan, but maybe I'm totally wrong. Martino, tell us if I'm wrong or not.
Oh, Martino's getting serious now.
No, because he knows. I have my theory.
Headache.
Look, Milan, they had that really difficult moment where they changed ownership and so on. Of course, you have the name, you have the historical following name from Milan. At a certain moment, it was that difficult for them to reach even qualification in Champions League and so on, that the pressure of being obliged to be Milan and to win went away. Yeah. And they were obliged to restart and giving chances to young players. That's what I want to say. To young players, to maybe unknown players. Also because they didn't have the possibility to go for these big players that would not play Champions League. So they had, it's really a paradox, but because they were not anymore doing that good, they had the time to rebuild without the pressure that usually a club like Milan would have. I don't know if today they could continue to do the same way or rebuilding, but now they are really there for 10 years because they had that opportunity. And I believe the problem of Juventus, that's what I believe, is that publicly it has never been said openly, we are rebuilding, because you have that we are still in the Champions League and so on and so on. So people, and especially Juventini, they don't want to admit, okay, we are rebuilding, and for the next 3 years, we don't win anything. We rebuild. Am I wrong in my?
No, I mean I've said this to the Juve fans too. It's like you're holding on to the past, and this is what Milanisti did. I'm not too sure on Inter fans, but like. They were holding on in like 2012, 2013. Yeah, they make the Champions League. They get to the knockout stage. They face Atletico. And, they beat Barca at home at one point. And they're just like holding on. But it's like, look at the squad. Who do you have backing them up? Who's replacing Chiellini? Nobody. Nobody's even close to that talent level. Who's replacing Bonucci in the future? I don't know. Bremer was great, but you could say it's a lateral movement for De Ligt. Fullbacks, you already said it. You have none. The midfielders were running around on a carousel going with Pogba. Listen, it's great if you want to sign Italian players, but where's the international scouting? Seriously, where has that been? You go and get Zakaria, and he leaves within 6 months. The guy's gone. Okay, he doesn't last that much longer. With Milan, they're looking all over the place, whether it's Tonali within Serie A or Italy, or they're looking to go to Belgium, and they're getting players there for the fraction of the price. I think it has been a slow decline with the Ronaldo and Beppe Marotta leaving as well, that they don't know what they're doing. And Paratici, I don't think he was all there. And Nedved, listen, I don't know what Nedved does except dance at this point in those videos. I really don't. I think he's a great talking head, and he's great if you want someone to have that Juve type of mentality. But I'm not sure what else they add at this point. Just even the way you guys negotiate at this point, these negotiations drag on. You still have the highest wages. You're not even cutting wages down. It's a very weird direction.
We are.
Well, we're also giving Pogba all that money. Pogba's the highest paid midfielder in Serie A, no?
Yeah, but from where he comes to,
I understand,
should have been the player of Serie A. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't know.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, it's a lot of issues.
Well, you're correct that we have a lot of issues. We are not like 2 years, 14 in a row, and then to this year it's even worse just because. And also then Dybala, he goes to Roma. And Wayne, I'm sorry for the third time that I interrupted the Dybala kickoff. Go Wayne.
He's been excellent. I've waited a very long time for a player of this caliber. He is, in my opinion, the last great number 10 in Italian football. Of course, he's not Italian, but he brings that skill set, that player, that really, bandiera type of, I think, ethos. Of course, he's not a captain for the team, and he leaves Juventus after, I think, 7 seasons. But immediately, what he brings onto the pitch and what he doesn't when he's not there is just so apparent. Like, they go into that game against Atalanta, he gets pulled out of it. Immediately, the morale just dips. And that was not the same team that you were going to see play on that day. Roma would have beaten Atalanta 100% if he was in that lineup. And Mourinho is really clicking with him. He has him playing in a way where, in the Trident, Dybala drops back a little bit, almost to a central location, to grab the ball. So once Roma retake possession in that low block, Dybala drops back, gets the ball on the right wing, and then you have Zaniolo, or, hypothetically, because of the injuries, you want to have Zaniolo there interchanging with Tammy Abraham. So Abraham also checks a little bit more, depending on where Dybala gets the ball. And he has been arguably the top 3 player in Serie A right now, and he's really showing those, I don't want to say stripes, that's the wrong word here. He's showing the flavors, what a weird word choice there, of why he was the Serie A player of the year just a short time ago.
I'm waiting for my comments about Dybala, because I saw great games. I also saw a Dybala in the beginning that had a bit of difficulties. I'm not sure yet. I saw greatness of Dybala in some games, but really. And then some games where, for example, the one of Juve is doing that amazing assist, but I believe it was a lot emotional, going back to the stadium that early.
Gee, you said something. Emotional. The difference right now is Dybala is happy, and you can totally tell when he plays. This kid loves it. That's when he runs to the Curva Sud, they love him, and it's a mutual. It's very a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it can be.
To be fair, there's no one at Juve Stadium anymore to run to, so.
That's fake. It's partially fake. Hey, no, you know what? The people they are like this today. They have the last image, and that's the truth. If you're looking, the 2 first game at home, it was sold out. But it's correct that it's not a beautiful image. It's not a beautiful image. Having Benfica Champions League with these spots white, and then the game versus Salernitana, also half the stadium, it's not beautiful. Yeah. Martino, you're correct. You're correct. I'm overreacting because you're correct.
And you got triggered. You got triggered by the sport Bible. So
Yeah, no, that Sport Bible tweet, it annoyed me because it's impossible to compare. I don't know if you saw the tweet of Sport Bible, but they are quite correct when they are saying that, what is the thing? Sunderland had more average supporters this year in the stadium. Yeah, but it makes no sense because they have 49,000 people available. It's like you say, Inter has more supporters in the stadium than you. Of course, they have it, and Milan, because
Bigger
you have a
stadium,
stadium of 80,000. Anyway, I'm angry with everyone. These
You said banter. I had to bring it up.
yeah, but banter from you I accept, not by Sport Bible. And speaking about Sunderland, no, that I don't like. I don't like. Raul, what's your take on Dybala? Because he was that close of having also, like you in the bedroom, black and white, and then becoming an Inter player. And he went to Wayne. You are missing him, and you are enjoying the other one that you have, Correa, or not? Or Lukaku, maybe the comeback of the king.
Our choice was between Lukaku and Dybala, and we chose Big Rom. And I was for it. I mean, if you ask me which player I prefer, I'm more of a Dybala. Just trigger. That's a good one. I'm a much more Dybala. I like technical players and stuff. But I thought, Inzaghi wanted Lukaku, so let's give him Lukaku, and it was that deal, selling him for 115 million and then getting him back for a loan, like it's just too good to turn down. But yeah, at the moment, if we're looking at very short-term reactionary, it looks like we should have gone for Dybala over Lukaku, because we were talking about how Dybala's injury-prone, and then Lukaku actually got injured before Dybala. So at the moment, it looks like we maybe went for the wrong choice. But I still have faith in Big Rom when he comes back. Sure, I think in Serie A he can still make the difference if he stays fit. Fingers crossed.
People, they didn't hear it. Did you say Big Wrong or Big Rom? We didn't hear it really well.
At the moment, it's a big wrong, I guess. Yeah. Or Lakaka. He's definitely Lakaka right now.
What's the story? Because I hear on the channel every day, I wake up and my wife is saying Allegri out as well. Everyone. I wake up, I go to sleep, it's always Allegri out, Agnelli out, Juve out, Beppe out. But you also hear Zhang out. What's happening with the president of Inter? How do you react? I'm curious to understand. As a content creator, you read Zhang out, Zhang out, Zhang out. How do you react?
Yeah, I mean, it's time to go, man.
You are also Zhang out.
Yeah, I'm not Zhang out. I'm like, it's time to sell. Like, it's just someone else needs to come in. I'm not like, there's some other undertones to people saying that, the people that are being, against Suning or China and things like that, but they can't, because of the Chinese government has blocked foreign investment, so they can't inject 200 million like you guys do every year, so they can't inject any money into the club. So there's no point. Like, what's the point of having a club and then every season we're just gonna keep
liquidate.
Yeah, so there's no real...
What about Inzaghi and the yellow cards?
Oh my days, that guy he's got like, I don't know if there's something happened, like we need to speak to his therapist. Like, there's something that must have happened to this guy on yellow cards. Like, he's obsessed. He's like paranoid.
Just it's the sheer color of yellow, limone, like everything. Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't make sense because he was doing that at Lazio too. When Milan beat them on a Theo Hernandez header, they had a match against Bayern. I believe it was in the group stage or something. There was a Champions League match coming up in the next week, and he subs off Immobile in a match like that at the half. And it's kind of like, what are you doing? You can't afford to do something like that. If the match is like 2-2 at that point, and like the Bastoni thing, it's like, what kind of confidence does that build? And the guy has poor attitude on the sideline. Whether or not like he has a right to be frustrated is one thing. It just, I'm not even just saying it because I'm a Milan fan. Like, honestly, it feels like you guys are not the same club since that loss back in February. It just doesn't. Yeah, it's just a very big negative vibe. And Dumfries was even just talking about it again. I don't know if it was the more recent derby defeat, but it's like, get over it at this point. You have so many other matches that you have to play. You won the title the year that we beat you the first time. even though Kolarov is playing. What does it matter? There's 38 of them. It's pretty embarrassing that they get like that. I think that's the bigger issue.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm in my streams every day. Like people are obviously, I think Inzaghi obviously deserves a lot of criticism as well. But to me, it's more the players. Like I'm so disappointed. Like because after Conte, you've had 2 years under Conte, so obviously he's given you that mentality. You've won the Scudetto, so you should be winners. And compared to Milan's team, we're a much older team, like average age, like more experienced. But you guys, when I watch Milan play, you guys go down and it's like nothing happened. You just keep playing your game. Inter goes down, someone gets a yellow card. It's just like any little episode in the game. It doesn't seem like these guys are experienced or winners. Like I'm really disappointed in the players, to be honest, because the team really hasn't changed much over the last 2 or 3 years. So it should be like on autopilot, really, this team, and it's just I'm very
is
very
that like part of it because like nobody knows who's staying or who's going? Because
of course.
Skira says it last night. He's like, yeah, if an offer comes for Dumfries for like 35 million, he's gone. And it's like, then what's the point? What's the continuity? I know you get Bellanova, but just like how do you even keep calm if you're a player? Because if you play well, you're probably gone. So it's like,
no, exactly. That goes back to the Zhang out thing because there's no stability at the club. Like we went literally until the last day of the window. We couldn't say. I could not say confidently on my channel that Skriniar is going to stay. Like, and Skriniar himself probably, knows that if the right offer, if PSG actually came with a 70, 80 million, like he would have been gone. And he's not had a great start to the season. Bastoni, we know, was like rumored, like confirmed rumors to Spurs. It's just like anyone can be gone, and the next day it's crazy.
Guys, I want to do a small game to round up the live. Small game. Surprising team of the season. Maybe we can go. Martino, you want to start with the surprise?
If you want to let Wayne go first, because I feel bad. Wayne's got cut off like 10 times, so you can let him go first.
No, it's not the player, right? It's the team. Surprise team of the season.
To me, I think the one I want to say is also in black and white stripes, but I have to go with Atalanta in the sense that their tactics have completely changed. They lost a lot of big players. They've gone through this mini revolution. They've gotten new guys in. They're very young. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. Gasperini, who I thought played this amazing system, but then it cooled down. Just as you think, oh, well, it's over now. His system's done. He creates a new system, and he has them playing a completely different way. So for me, Atalanta is the surprise team just because of what they're doing with what they have right now.
I agree.
I'm not going to mention G, who you and I spoke about. I think we're going to get to that question a little later. But if I look at a player like Scalvini, he's now becoming a center point. He's a teenager. He's going to be playing for Italy for the first team as a starter before we know it. Brian Soppi, very good right back. Who else? I mean,
there's the striker's pretty good that they got the young kid. I forget if is he
Højlund.
Danish?
Højlund. Yeah, he's.
So
I believe he's
like 19?
I think he is Danish. Yeah, he's 19 years old. He comes over. He has a. I don't believe he's a target forward, but he's somebody who's going to play off the shoulder of the last defender. They paid a lot of money for him, though. There's big expectations for him, and Zapata hasn't even played. He's missed out on a game or two. If I'm not wrong in that. So you got Derun, who's now playing in a different tactical setup compared to what we saw. He's a leader within the team. Toloi is looking very good. So to me, the fact that they can transition from this all-out attacking football, high press, making diamonds all over the flanks, each respective flank on the pitch, to now sitting back, letting the opponent take the game to them, giving the ball away, yet still scoring, to me is phenomenal stuff.
I want to say goodbye to Uncle Sharma that needs to leave. Uncle Sharma, you want to go maybe with your best player so far and also your flop player. You don't have to explain. Just best and flop so far from the season.
Flop. I'll go for one of the. I'm sure you mentioned some Juve players. I'll go for one of the Inter guys.
Yeah, I had one of the Inter.
Yeah, I'll go. It has to be one of our centre backs, I guess. I'll go with the Bastoni because everyone knows about De Vrij. I'll go with Bastoni for now because I have high standards. So De Vrij, I kind of know now he's not at that level anymore. But for Bastoni, we got standards. So I always hold our better players to higher standards than other ones. So I would say flop player. I'll say Bastoni for now.
And the best?
Best. Ooh, I think it has to be. I think the way he's just come in, Kvara has to be for me. I think Kvara. Oh, actually, I'll give a little hipster shout for Lobotka because he's my guy. I'll give my shout outs to Lobotka. I like him. I just really like him as a player. I liked him when he was at Celta Vigo. Inter were linked with him when Spalletti was there. And I'm glad he's been able to turn his career around. He was good last season, but he's started off really well this season as well.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you, Angel Sharma. Guys, don't forget, you can subscribe on this YouTube channel. He's doing amazing things for the wrong team, but he's doing amazing things. Thank you. Ciao, Raul.
Cheers, guys. And
Bye, Sharma.
It's black. It's black and white. No, I'm joking. It's blue. It's blue.
It's black.
Yeah.
I don't like that setup. I really don't like.
And then there were three
fitting like that. No, we finish with the game if you don't mind. So, Atalanta surprising team for Wayne. I also had Udinese / Atalanta, but I was absolutely not expecting Atalanta. And yeah, it makes no sense to repeat what Wayne's saying. I totally agree with you. Your surprising team, Martino?
Yeah, Udinese.
Udinese.
It's just so good the way they play. You sack your manager when they were like playing. They were inconsistent last year. They had some pretty good games, but this is just a totally different vibe the way they play. And again, like it doesn't matter who they're playing against. They stick to their style. They're scoring a ton of goals. And then the defense, it's okay, but it's a big plus that they get to keep Destiny, because if they would have lost him, I'm not too sure that it would have gone the same way. But he's a big plus, and Beto, Becao, like all these guys are just. I think they're back to what they were earlier last decade, where like they're better off replacing guys and they're going to be competitive. I don't know if they'll keep this up, but it's impossible not to be impressed.
They have one of the league's best player, Deulofeu.
He's been amazing. Yeah, him too.
The first
I got some stats
two games, not, but since really great.
I've got some good stats for you here. Number one in the league for assists, 5 assists. Beto has 4 goals off of that as well. He is 5th in the league for total shots with 24. He's number 3 for key passes behind Biraghi and Benacer. He has 19 key passes. And he's number 1 for hitting the post. He's hit the post 3 times.
And then he blew that one-on-one chance for Skalulu too. Like not to even like bring it up. It's a significant chance, even if he has an assist there or a goal. Yeah, he's been amazing for them. And he almost signed with Napoli too. I think they wanted like 25 million, so they didn't do it.
But
do I have to go with a player, right?
That's why he started really bad. No, really bad is exaggerating, but not as he's playing now. The first 2 games, because you still had that possibility of going to Napoli, and then maybe a bit sad that they took Raspadori because of him. But now we accepted it, and he's doing again fantastic things. Best player for you and flop player?
Best player has been Cavada. I don't think there's like anything else to say about that. He's been amazing in every match. Even his worst match against Milan, you could say he's still winning a penalty. He's still causing frustrations on the right side. Kier, yellow card. Calabria, yellow card. And then the biggest flop, actually, it's an Inter player, but not a center back. I think Brozovic. Brozovic was going to be suspended for that game against Roma. We're 7 matches in and the guy has yellow card suspension already. That's not great. That's disappointing. So not only is he going to miss probably a month, he's going to miss the match when he comes back, and he's already declined like that. For like, you could argue he's the best defensive midfielder in the league. He's not even been a top 5 midfielder in the league. So I think he's been the most disappointing.
I said my flop was also an Inter player. We have enough flops at Juve, but really a flop is Gosens. I was expecting Gosens because you know why I chose him, because I can speak about a lot of players of Juve, but I chose Gosens as worst because you let go Perisic because you already have Gosens, or maybe Perisic is leaving because you already bought and signed Gosens, and then it's not performing. Normally, I'm always starting my fantasy teams with buying Theo Hernandez and Gosens. I didn't take Gosens this year. I said I don't believe in him, and he's not showing.
Wait.
Sorry. I look at, for my top, I have three different players between Deulofeu for what he's given, and that you cannot really say any one player has been more important to their team. Cavada, of course, is obvious, and Dybala. So for me, the three of them, it's been very hard to see between. And of course, the three of them actually play somewhat similar. Sharma used the word techie before, and they really are technical players, fantasiste, players who want the ball at their feet. I have to say my flop has been from my own club. Abraham has pretty much not gotten on the end of everything that he could have so far. He's been going through a tough time, I think, mentally, just adapting. He's got Belotti on his heels. We even see Shomurodov back into the fold now. So Abraham, not that he is a flop in himself, but compared to what I saw last season and what I know that he's capable of, I have to see much more, much better from him. He's got to start feeling that heat and responding to it, because that's ultimately what will make you from a pretty good striker into a great player, is how you respond to that adversity.
Best player, you said, huh?
Best? Sorry, Juventini. He's been my best, Dybala. Because when you put him in, I think he just... Deulofeu is one thing. For me, yes, he's the most important single player to a team. But Dybala just has that old school Argentinian number 10 about him. A player that when he wants to, he can turn a game on its head. If he wants to, he can be unplayable. You cannot track him. You don't know what his next move is going to be. So for me, it has to be my boy. I have to support him.
I agree also with Michael. Jovic from Fiorentina. I was expecting more from him, especially if you see the start of the season last year with Vlahovic. You still have the same coach, Italiano, that is giving continuity to the project. And you sign Vlahovic. I was not expecting 30 goals, but something. He's also flopping. Also because I have him in my fantasy league and he's not giving me points, so he's starting to annoy me a bit. I'm considering to sell him. I'm doing quite good in my fantasy league. I'm quite happy about my result. I chose best surprising player. It was best surprising Cope Miners, but best player, Milinković-Savić. He's again there with 5 assists, again, consistent.
Yeah.
Whoever plays next to him, he doesn't care. He's doing the difference. The guy, he's impressive.
Yeah.
Huh?
I can't believe he's still at Lazio.
It's crazy.
Why is he not playing for like a top 4 Champions League team? Why is he not at Manchester City?
Owner's a stubborn fool, that's why.
He might be stubborn, and that's definitely true, Martino. But eventually, it's a player who has to resign. It's him who has to continue to want to play for that team and to show that will and to go onto the field and continue to do great things, because he is. And at the very same time, he can go to any team he wants, I would think. So I don't totally get it. Like, what is going on there? They've been very lucky throughout the years, Lazio, with these players who just do great and want to stay.
Doesn't it expire next year though? Like he didn't extend 2 years, so 2024.
Crazy.
And then it'll be like 28 at that point. It's his career, I guess. You know, like that's up to you then. And there's been offers on the table. I'm pretty sure Leonardo had an offer over 100 million, and Lotito gladly brags about declining that number. And then the same thing, what happened with Cairo with Belotti. We offered like 70, 80 million plus Niang, and they said no.
Yeah, and they said no.
So only in Italy do they do that.
do we agree? Do we agree on the flop team of Serie A?
Yeah, I think it stinks though, because injuries once again, like that stinks. If you're gonna talk about a team with Di Maria and with Pogba, Di Maria is for the past 5-7 years elite, of the very top echelon of players. And now, a big injury to your key player, one that you thought was going to drive this attack with Vlahovic, would have been one of the most dangerous tandems in world football. It stinks for Allegri, but he doesn't help himself. And I don't want to say it's antiquated tactics. It's just no tactics.
No, there is not at the moment. There is nothing. Yeah, there is nothing. It's hard.
I think Inter deserve more crap than they're getting. I think Juve being this bad has kind of masked that, because Inter's expectations, like they're the favorite to win. Juve too, like they're both the highest wages in the league. They both spend a ton. Inter not as much money. Juve spending the big money. Allegri getting the guys that he wanted. Yeah, they didn't get the fullbacks, but at the same time, like Locatelli hasn't been one of the best midfielders in Serie A. He's supposed to be. Pogba's not healthy. Di Maria's not healthy. Vlahovic, yeah, he needs more service, but there's certain things out of his control, I think. But he has no midfield. I don't think out of all like the top teams in Serie A, Juve probably are one of the worst ones. Like there's so many different things, and you're right. Like, and there's no passion. No. I think like as a neutral, where's the that's what Milan lost for a very long time. Excuse my language, but where's the balls on some of these guys? Where's the guys that's gonna start a fight? Not to just start a fight. I'm not saying Di Maria elbow and get sent off, but I'm saying like where's that? Like you could hear like the emptiness. It just feels so soulless in that stadium. That match against Benfica should have been 6 goals. That was bad. That was really bad. Bonucci's comments, like your captain saying it too. He's like, we're bad on all fronts. It's from the top, bottom,
if you see versus Monza, you can always lose. We know it. Football is crazy, and that's why we love football. But
I would agree.
Juventus is not entering the field. They don't play.
It felt like us when we lost to Benevento when the goalkeeper scored on us.
I remember that.
Where it was like a kick to the balls. Like you feel lifeless, and you're like, you know what? Like at this point, like I was maybe ambitious, but what? Like if the results aren't there and nothing's changing, like you risk going to Europa League at this point. You risk. I would rather finish last if I were you. I wouldn't want to play in Europa League.
Yeah, but I understand. Now let's see, because everything can happen. But at today, it's difficult to find solutions. You wanted to say something, Wayne? I forgot.
Before the show, you and I were talking about Koop Miners. Looking back, he's 24 years old now, and he just is that center mid. He's big, he's strong, but he's fast as well. He gets between the lines, and it seems like he plays every different position for Atalanta, whether he's getting forward and shooting with that strong left foot of his, or getting back and forcing recoveries against the opposition, and then pushing the rest of his team up. Koop, 24 years old, brought over for 12 million euros from AZ. That's a phenomenal signing.
Hey, you know who owns them? Or no? The new owners at Atalanta, you know where they come from or no? You know this.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean Percassi?
The new owners. Yeah.
Yeah, the new owners is part owners of the Celtics, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a good time for us right now. I think you infected us.
Guys, it was a beautiful recap, no? I didn't want to keep it too long. Maybe the last one, prediction towards, not the end of the season, that's super long, but towards the 13th of November, end of the first part of Serie A before the World Cup. Do you think we see some changes there, or Napoli still on top? Monza starting doing some points with Palladino, or
I think Napoli has a real shot this year. I think they really can. I thought it was weak that ADL blamed AFCON last year, because I went back before the show and I looked at what happened last season. Napoli started off 12 games without a loss. They actually went 10 wins and 2 draws within that time. All of their losses came in this block, from the 21st of November up until the 22nd in December. In 1 month, they lost 4 matches. AFCON was not taking place. March 6th, AFCON is not taking place. They lose again. They lose their last 2 of the season in April, and then a draw, and then another loss. So he can blame AFCON all he wants, and he's not going to sign African players unless they put a clause in his contract. But the truth is that this was actually lost outside of every month besides AFCON.
Our 2 best midfielders played in AFCON. I thought it was the laziest excuse I've ever heard of in my life by him. It's a lack of accountability for that.
Yes.
How about you blame your left winger that's Italian that didn't score any open play goals until later in the season?
Terrible, your captain.
He was awful. And he's not even trying to say, like, the Patania signing stunk. Mertens, there for too long. Koulibaly, great, sure, but your goalkeeper situation, not great. Your left back, overrated, not great. It was so many situations. You lose at home to Milan.
Unacceptable.
Suck it up. And then
you're not going to win this Scudetto.
No. It was embarrassing for him to say that, and it deflects blame, because that's just something that's supposed to start at the top.
Yeah, but De Laurentiis is. If you listen to De Laurentiis, is totally madness. But I agree that this year they make more chance, because of what I said a bit earlier. It looks like two different Serie A's. I'm not a big fan of Spalletti in long term. I would hire Spalletti, from the first game until end of September, end of October, and then maybe changing. But this time it's really strange, and if they can keep up the vibes until the 13th of November and coming back as a new season, they might do something. Michael is asking, can Atalanta continue their good run? I was not seeing them in the top 4, but I forgot an important thing. They are not playing any European competition. Any. And we know that Gasperini, when he's the old style vintage coach, that when he has a full week to prepare one game, he knows what to do. He knows, and he also has the credibility in Atalanta. He knows everything by heart. So they can continue. Winning, no, but they can continue. It was one that I didn't calculate in my predictions.
I don't believe they will either. I think they've gotten very lucky. And when you rely on just a couple of shots per game to get your goal, it looks very good when it happens, but the averages are against you. And if you play that hands long enough, it's not going to work out for you. I truly do not believe it. I don't think they have the attacking quality to finish in the top 4.
I think Inter fall off. I think they do. I think Inter's going to be in a really rough. I don't think
they continue to be mediocre.
I don't see. They lose their best midfielder now. Çalhanoğlu had an injury. They have Lukaku there. Is he going to be 100%? And I just don't think that dressing room. I think that dressing room is on par with how Juve is. Honestly, I don't see how they keep positivity in there.
If they lose against Roma, they're in big trouble.
And I think they will. Where is it? Is it in Rome?
I believe so.
Let me check.
I mean, if it's in Rome, that's one of the toughest places to play in. And
it's in San Siro, but nonetheless, they lost their best player with Brozo.
Is there any other manager that you would want to take you into that stadium? No, seriously, there probably isn't.
No, you want Mourinho there.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
And that's the thing. I think Inzaghi actually gets sacked before Allegri does.
Could be. Who do they take?
They'll probably go Tuchel.
Stankovic.
That's probably well, actually, no, that won't work because Lukaku's there. Yeah, I mean, they can't do De Zerbi, but it's Inter.
Yeah, that's over.
It's Inter. And I mean, imagine they do Di Francesco, probably not, but
no. Maybe they go a caretaker, somebody that's just not a long term, and they take the summer until they get a new ownership to figure it out.
Yeah, that was the rumor. Yeah, you're right. That was a rumor that because he left Red Star. Well, they're not Red Star anymore, but he did leave there. That was the rumor that we were seeing too.
I would never change. For example, I prefer to continue this year with Allegri doing as he's doing bad than changing him with Inzaghi. I would never take Inzaghi.
No.
Oh no! I would never want to. I would never want
bad.
to do that.
Inzaghi is really bad.
And when if Spalletti doesn't get top 2 this year, does he, regardless if his contract is at an end or not, it's not, but does he move on? And I have to really think, the more I think about it, like I said before at the start of this, that Spalletti is only as good as his players, but I also think that he has issues with his players quite a lot. And he never just says it's my fault. He kind of gets into this litigation with his own players, like media, back and forth, like public stuff. And I don't know why he does it. It's not that he necessarily throws them under the bus. It's more like the decisions that he makes where he just seems like, oh, I'm just doing it somewhat arbitrarily without a reason. And I think that can be very off-putting long term, which is why you don't see him grab one of those Scudetti in the past.
That's what was so impressive about Pioli, is that he changed as a manager, because it was very similar. Like, you start great, you burn out, and then I think that whole Astori situation really changed him as a manager and how he approaches situations. And it's a lot more calm, because the culture at Milan was a disaster. Almost everybody they signed was going to be a flop. Almost every single player that had an attitude, it was at the forefront of every single match. It takes a lot for that to change. I don't know. It depends on the circumstances. Because if Spalletti goes deep again with Napoli and then they blow it, more of the same. right? And then
Yeah.
for him and the club.
But
So then they
that's what
might have to
happened
move.
last season as well. Huh? They start amazingly, and everyone start to wow. And then at the end of the season, I don't know if you remember, you had De Laurentiis taking his plastic chair and monitoring what they were doing on the field in the training, in Retiro. It was totally
Really,
crazy.
same thing
Unreal
every
stuff.
time. Every time. It's like micromanaging.
It's crazy. And this is absolutely not what they need, I believe. Because it's hard for them. Because Napoli, now it's okay. Start of the season and they are happy. But when it goes really to something concrete,
Diversity,
something real,
yeah.
they go crazy. And the players, they feel it. Huh? We are, that's what I'm saying also today. We saw an interview of Kulusevski about all the players are speaking.
Yeah.
But the players, they read social media. They know what the pressure is, what the people are thinking. It's hard, huh? It's really hard and
Yeah.
tough. To
I have
to put yourself in a bubble, it's hard.
I have a question
Yeah.
for you on Chiesa. I think it's a mistake to bring him back with anything that's not the November games. That it's like, like maybe like 10 to 15 minutes here. I think it's a mistake if you bring him back earlier. And at any point in October, I think it's a mistake.
Well,
I do. I think it's too risky for him. He's too valuable that you put that risk up.
look,
That's just me.
Chiesa had his injury in January. So normally, it depends of people to people, what kind of player, but it goes between 6 and 8 months. Here we are really already late. Huh? And the problem is that while he was training and doing the rehab, he had a small infection, again a problem with the knee, not that serious, and that's why it went a bit later. I would absolutely not rush him. Now they are saying that after Bologna he will start training with the team. Some people are exaggerating, saying he could be on the bench versus Milan. I don't know. Even if he's on the bench, I believe it's
crazy.
more for the vibes than something. But before November, I don't expect him to be on the field. Then, if really the situation is great, I don't know. I would love to say I trust the J Medical, but that's not really the case today.
You
so
don't, yeah.
I agree with your comment. Don't because we saw it with Zaniolo. Huh? Wayne he knows. He came back from an ACL, 2-3 games. I remember it was the same day as Demiral. Demiral he continued his rehab. Zaniolo wanted to be back really fast, and he did it again on the other leg.
Other leg.
On the other leg.
And that was with Italy, though, I think, right?
No?
Yeah.
That was with the national team.
Yeah.
In that game. Yeah, I mean, listen, 30 minutes a game maybe with the November ones, and then you're off. You take a break. Have that rest. Like but again, I guess it would depend on how poorly you're playing. If you keep dropping points, they might be forced to play. But I don't want to keep you on too much longer. I gotta eat dinner soon.
Thank you, people in the chat, for participating. I see a lot of also new people, like Michael Talks Football. I saw that he has a YouTube channel as well. So, guys, for the people that do not know, go and watch him. Thank you to Martino. Thank you for Wayne to remaining actually 90 minutes like a football game. Congratulations to Italy for going to the Final Four. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Martino. Thank you, Rahul. And thank you, Rafa. It was amazing. Grazie, guys. Ciao.